Welcome back to another TradeOut's technical analysis update. Just want to do a quick follow-up video from yesterday. And also a quick announcement before I start. A lot of the technical analysis tutorials that I've done, so the modules that I've done previously that were not public, I'm going to make them public. So you will probably see those dropping over the next several weeks. Probably drop one at a time and just kind of like do it over the next several weeks. So in case you see those, that's what they are, that's where they're from. And I put a lot of time and effort, just like the Trading Bot series. I put a ton of time and effort into these technical analysis tutorials, so I hope that you enjoy them. And yeah, I mean, like I said, they're going to be dropping probably one at a time. And they are videos that have been released for a while now, so don't be surprised if like you see a comment or something on there from 2022, because it's probably somebody from VIP. So just again, in case you're wondering why that is the way that it is. So anyway, just wanted to get that out of the way. But we're going to start here again with ES, just a quick follow-up. So basically, a decent day. Had a pretty nice pump for ES. And where do we end up? Shocking surprise, drum roll please, the key level. So 4303 basically pushed up into this level. Into the close. Obviously we've backed off from there, so this is that same 4303. I mean, it's literally to the dot pretty much, right? But right back up to 4303, and then getting a bit of a pullback as it sits. To me, this is still a key level. It's still an important resistance. My main resistance is this SR zone here, 4380, pretty much 4385, something like that. Until price gets back above this, I'm not really that interested. I'm not like gonna get overly bullish or anything. But this was a pretty nice move up. So if it's able to reclaim 4303 and start pushing back up into this kind of mini range that we have here, then yeah, I could definitely see it chop around for a little bit. But as long as we are below this red box here, this red rectangle of death, I do think that overall that we do head lower. For those of you who are EMA fans or moving average fans, basically we very slightly front ran the 200 simple. So this is a 200 simple moving average. This purple line is your 200 EMA, which we actually bounced off of already. You kind of see like this bouncing off of the 200 EMA here pushed us up into this resistance test. Like this probably, like in my opinion, this is kind of doing something similar, right? Like you're getting a nice initial move off of that. You didn't perfectly test it, so could we come back down and do it? Sure. But really, like a bounce from here isn't that surprising to me. I would just be a little bit surprised if like this was like the low and we just went from here, right? I'm not really looking for that to happen, but I'm not too surprised here that we did get a bit of a bounce. But again, overall, it doesn't change anything for me. As long as we're below this red zone here, I mean, we could come back up, maybe even test it again. But it's not until we get back above then I would look for us to get back into this trading range, and things are going to look a lot better, in my opinion, if that happens. But for now, again, as long as we're below this red zone, especially below this key level, the 4303, to me it's just kind of sideways and down. And I'm still looking overall for us to come somewhere within this region, which there's a ton of support here. This is a very critical support if it's tested. Obviously, it might not. Who the hell knows? We could just freaking V reverse here and go to the moon. That's certainly possible. Just to me, not as likely. But I wanted to follow up with that. So again, it's kind of showing that this key level very well respected, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm not really like super interested in this until kind of like New York Open tomorrow, but we'll see. And so this was an actual thing of interest that I thought we went over. This was the 10-year, and I had said that if we come back below 4 3/4, which we did today, had a nice, obviously like big push up, and then pretty let's say like nasty move down. But I do think that this could be a decent chance at least a local top. I definitely would not try to like say, oh, the high's in and we're plumbing from it. No, but the setup that I discussed on yesterday's video is there. Like that's the thing that I want to talk about. So for me, again, I had said that if we come back below 4 3/4, I would be looking at longing TLT, which is what I did this morning. So Actually did take a long on TLT, and I'll go to that chart in just a second. But basically, as long as we're below 4 3/4, that's kind of like I wanted to see, the push up, like I said yesterday, is fine. I want to see it come back below this level. And again, if it starts to push down, then TLT is very likely obviously going to move to the upside, kind of giving us a pretty good long opportunity there. So anyway, I don't where am I at a video? I'm trying my best, by the way. I do have like super long videos. I really want to keep this one as short as possible. So anyway, with TLT, basically took along this morning, kind of saw that we were seeing kind of, I don't want to say weakness below this level, but once we came back below 4 3/4, and basically I would be looking for, I guess we can just go to that chart in just a second. But anyway, this is the line, the red line right here. As long as we're below that, fine. With TLT, I'll tell you my stop in a minute. So going to TLT now. All right. So anyway, you can kind of see like where this low is from yesterday. That is basically what I'm using for my current stop loss. As long as we are above this low, that's kind of like the mark that I'm going to use for now. Realistically, could use today's low. That's perfectly fair. And the thing about this though is that if I start to see the 10-year start to move higher again, I'm very unlikely that I'm gonna sit here and wait for like this to get taken out, because it's very likely it would, right? But for TLT, again, just absolute destruction. This is not really anything that I look at this and say, man, I gotta buy this. This looks phenomenal. Because again, I think over time, which could, again, what I mean by that is over the next several months, right? This isn't something like I'm looking to happen over the next like couple of days. This is going to be like several months from now. I do think that these levels are going to get tested. So again, this historic lows that I talked about, back in the early 2000s, for example, like I think it's very likely that TLT is going to see this. But that trade setup that I'm talking about, it's really just, again, like I said yesterday, very short-term trade. Maybe I'm in it for a few days, maybe a week, maybe two if I'm lucky. Longer I'm in it, the better. That is probably going to be for me. But really, I'm just looking to target this key level. So kind of like back at 91, I'd be very happy with that. It's kind of what I'm going for. So 91 and then maybe 95. Again, like very lucky if I get to those. But for me, it's such an easy invalidation, like a low risk trade pretty much. And, it's a setup that I had identified prior to it happening. So when that happens and it meets your trade conditions, you got to take it. So that's basically what I'm looking for. Realistically, definitely yesterday's low, if not today's low, and then looking for, a bit of relief to the upside. Preferably would love to get back to 91, but again, we'll have to see what the 10-year does. Okay, so moving on to Bitcoin. My CME chart's actually not like super updated. I need to go through that. Kind of the main thing that I wanted to point out on today's move is you can see we had this gap, right? See this gap down, a lot of sideways, and then basically all we did was come up and fill the gap. So that's kind of like what this move was towards, kind of like noonish my time. Basically got that nice push up, gap filled, and then you got the pullback off of that. And, again, that, like my Bitcoin analysis from yesterday, I spent the entire time pretty much talking about high time frame levels. Today I'm going to shift gears and I'm going to start kind of like narrowing it down to like what's more current. This is, again, if you're in VIP, this is what you're probably used to. But anyway, my high time frame analysis hasn't changed at all. But now kind of like switch gears just a little bit and kind of talk to you like what I'm looking at lower time frame. So again, we got a gap fill. That's basically what this move was. Nice pullback from here. So what's next? To go into my Bybit chart, basically, there is, you go to this daily time frame, you can see that we have a nice daily SR level here. Okay, and it's at 27,989. So I do have a template for this. Daily 27, basically 28K. I do think that it's pretty good odds that we're going to come up here and test this. You can see we're actually forming another one right here, which could give a really nice intraday setup tomorrow, I would say, like if we're given that chance. So again, I would just actually, you have to wait. Like for me, I wait till the dailies close, um, like or till after daily close, and then again, any kind of retracement, maybe back to around this region, would be of interest, right? 27,411, but that doesn't confirm to me until the day closes, which isn't for another couple of hours. But anyway, we have this daily just shy of 28K. What's also there? You have the overall range point of control, right? The point of control of this entire range that we're in. So you know that's a very important level, which again, last time, so obviously we had these wicks to the upside that tested the equilibrium point, but previously it was also a pretty important resistance level. So go down to something a little lower time frame. Is there any other confluence that could be in that region? You all know that I love Fibonacci. And basically pulling it from this current high to this current low. Is there anything sitting in that region that's of interest? Absolutely. So that is this. So you have this golden pocket. That's sitting, that's literally sitting, the 618's basically right on the point of control. The daily slightly below that. So something to be like, for me, the way that I look at this is that if there is a slight push up into this, I know why that happened, and I'm still fine with that. And honestly, kind of expecting that a bit, or like have to be really careful, because if I'm sitting here trying to short the 618, for example, which is what happens to a lot of people who try to wait for, like, you know, if you see, oh, the 618's at $28,059, I'm gonna go put a short for that exact level, and like just showing here that there is a daily. So like for intraday setups, I really love these levels. It could get front ran, right? So like those people waiting for like try to like short the exact top, what they're hoping to get. And you know, again, just to frame this for reference, like this is a lower time frame setup. So I had said yesterday, I don't love this region for like trying to establish like swing trades from there. Like I still mean that, but it doesn't mean that I can't come down to lower time frames and try to identify trade setups on lower time frames, right? To be looking for scalp trades, intraday setups, that type of stuff. So it's completely different. But anyway, looking at this, really, really nice confluence sitting right on the point of control. You have a daily slightly below that. I would love for price to push up into this region and again, get a nice reaction there, look to take us back down. And the funny part about this, again, if we get that daily level that's established, which I think is very high probability, I think it's pretty good probability that this actually turns into one. So again, the daily has to close, today's candle has to close above 27,411 and a half for this to be a thing. But what would be nice is basically getting a push up into here, maybe into daily close, something like that, and then getting a rotation down, right? So it'd be something like this. Like if we do kind of work its way up, and then maybe, again, maybe we don't make it all the way up there, but then my target would really just be back around this daily. So for this trade right here, right, if this is given, I would be looking at this as a short trade. Where am I wrong on this? Well, I mean, getting above the golden pocket and basically, again, looking at the resistance levels that I have. If you see clean and clear acceptance above these levels and there's no rejection, then either A, you don't have to take the trade, right? So if you want to be a bit more patient, you can wait for the rejection and then like put your invalidation behind there. Or if you take it, just understand that like this is something you probably want to be in front of your computer for, because this thing could just start squeezing to the upside, right? But like, if you start to see price action clearly above this and holding and there's no sign of rejection here, then you're very, like, again, the thesis for wanting to take this trade, you're incorrect. If you took it, probably cut it and at least reevaluate. That's my opinion. But anyway, I would love to see something like this. And this is like really good intraday type trading, right? So this is like, now could this turn into some amazing swing trade where, you know, maybe it comes up rejects and then we end up taking this, here's your take profit one, and then we just nukes from here? Who the hell knows? But like that would be nice, but that's not entirely like what I'm looking to have happen here, because just like I said yesterday, and I kind of believe that even a bit more now today than I did yesterday, but I do think the ball's in the Bulls court. But it doesn't mean that there's not potential setups on lower time frames where like I could look to take a short trade, right? Like I don't have to only take long trades. Now again, do what you want. But I'm just, you know, kind of sharing like what I'm looking at and what I think would be interesting. So anyway, that's kind of like something that I'm looking for here. that's Bitcoin. As long as it's kind of the same thing, right? Like it is the same thing. Basically, as long as we're within this range, as long as we're above our, we're well above our value area low for the entire range. We're well above our range low. There's no real reason for me to get overly bearish here. We're literally kind of like chopping around near the point of control, near the 50% mark of the entire range. Like this is where people get cut up a lot. And like this, to me, there's nothing like super exciting. You get above 29,500, like I had said, starts to get very exciting. You get below, you start to lose this range low, gets very exciting. But until then, like sideways, trade the chop if you want, or be patient. But that's kind of my outlook. So that's Bitcoin. I think I covered everything that I want to cover. Again, I want to try to keep this video a bit on the shorter side. And maybe I'll come in later. I think probably tomorrow I'll release one of those technical analysis tutorials. I have to go back and see like what I've already released, but you'll start to see those obviously come out. And then I'll probably do another video later this week, and maybe we'll look at some other stuff and see how things are. But anyway, trade safe out there. We'll see you on the next one.